I call Reno Cherokee.
It will be. Kia ora, Mr Speaker. I'm pleased to speak at the third reading of the Trade Safeguard Measures Bill. It's my first contribution on this bill, sir. So I've quickly come up to speed. But talking about time frames, sir, I noticed just in flicking through the bill, sir, that today marks the 20th anniversary to the day of the signing of the World Trade WTO agreement that was adopted at Marrakesh. So on the 15th of April 1994, which I guess forms the basis of this bill, sir, because we are, I guess, adhering to, as a member of the WTO, adhering to the measures that have been recommended in there, that we do provide some trade safeguard remedies. And so, sir, but it has taken a long time. Obviously, 20 years since to the day, since the adoption of that agreement. And I can just imagine 20 years ago in Marrakesh, under the Atlas Mountains, with those beautiful Arabian Nights red supermarkets and the Berbers and the belly dancers, and a few cups of mint tea that our officials must have been working hard to see the completion of that agreement 20 years ago, and ensuring that we're all taken care of, sir. And so that agreement was passed, and now we've led, 27 odd years, no, more, well, 20 years, sorry, 20 years since the WTO agreement, so we've got to this bill. It was introduced under the previous Labor government. The policy decisions were made back, I think, in 2007. Leanne Dalsell, a very able minister in her time, shepherded this bill through to the House. And so it has taken a while, and here we are in 2014 at its third reading. Sir, the measures in this bill, as we say, they're non-controversial. I guess we know that we do need to protect certain industries when there is dumping of underpriced product, I guess, which makes our industries uncompetitive. And I know that we've got restrictions in this country on the importation of things like canned peaches from far-flung places like China, South Africa or South America, and galvanised number 8 wire. Well, we need to protect our industries, so there are those measures in place for those particular industries, but this goes a step further, sir. And when in the, who knows, rare occurrence that we are faced with an influx of products from a country which which causes harm, which is the test in the legislation to our New Zealand-based industry, that there are measures that, defensive measures, I guess, that can be adopted to ensure that there is a more level playing field. So we commend those measures in the bill. They're not new, sir, as we know. This bill replaces an act which is, I think, from about 1987, 27 odd years old. So it is indeed of updating, and the measures are very sensible, referring the investigations or these queries to the Ministry, MB, to look into, and so they can ensure a swift and expeditious type of investigation and inquiry. Likewise, extending the time frame in which they can deal and perhaps put in place provisional duties from 35s to a longer investigation period to some 75 or 85 working days, again, is more sensible, and as has been mentioned by previous speakers, it aligns our obligations, so we are probably less open to appeal through WTO procedures. And likewise, the guidelines and all the measures that are in the bill to do with the public interest. So, sir, these are really used tools. As we've heard, there's only been, I guess, 4 type, actions or taken under the Act, and countervailing duties have been imposed on one occasion But, you know, I guess the shoes and the car tyres and other manufacturers of those times benefited from those measures. But in this global environment that we're a part of, we are a small, open economy. We have forged free trade deals, and I do acknowledge my colleague, the Honourable Phil Goff, for his momentous work that he did with the China FTA and many others during his time as a minister. We do live in a world where we are actually seeing an opening up of the trade and a reduction of the tariff barriers right across the world. So these sort of measures seem sort of counterintuitive to that, but nevertheless, sir, they are an important tool. They are an important tool that we need at our disposal to protect our New Zealand industries should it ever arise. And I'm just trying to think what could be an industry that could perhaps look to protection, and it could be any New Zealand industry. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but I'm thinking of the New Zealand pork industry, an industry which my colleague, the Honourable Damien O'Connor, knows well. And the New Zealand pork industry fought this government all the way to the Supreme Court, to protect their industry from the importation of raw pork meat from far-flung places like Canada and other places. In fact, most of the pork that Kiwis do eat is not Kiwi-raised pork. It's actually pork from Canada. And so the New Zealand pork industry fought tooth and nail all the way to the Supreme Court, fought the MPI to impose tougher standards so that there would be a more level playing field. But alas, they lost that case, sir, and now we have an influx of container after container of pork from Canada and many other places, which really does place our own New Zealand pork industry at a disadvantage. So, rather than actually getting the protection, they are actually disadvantaged by the actions of the government. And maybe if there is a great influx of, I don't know, a bumper season of pork, pig rearing, that we get an avalanche of pork containers coming into the country, the New Zealand pork industry may need to resort to some protection under this piece of legislation, sir. So that is really all I have to say, sir. But I hope my colleagues on the other side of the House enjoyed my very learned and very participation in this debate, sir, because it is a very commendable piece of legislation. As I gaze up to the clock there and see that we are 10 minutes to the top of the hour, but sir, this is a very commendable piece of legislation. It's non-controversial. It's important that we have these measures in place. In the rare occurrence that it may be required, it's always good to have the legislation on the books. And, sir, therefore I commend this bill to the House. Kia ora tātou.
Call Stephen Browning.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise to speak to the Trade Safe